So it appears that everyone's a winner after phase one of Brexit talks. But can that be real? The last-minute deal agreed with the EU means both sides can move on to the next stage, having agreed there would be no hard border with Ireland, protected rights for EU citizens here and UK citizens in Europe, and a divorce bill of up to £40 billion. The European Commission President called it a breakthrough and a personal success for Theresa May. Here's our political editor, Gary Gibbon.
4 in the morning at RAF Northolt, the Prime Minister boards the plane to Brussels, sweeping into town to shake on a divorce deal. In from the cold and operating on 2 hours sleep, Theresa May got a deal that pushed back the EU on some of their demands, but overall is much closer to their plan than hers. 4 days after the DUP forced Theresa May to abandon her trip here on Monday, the Prime Minister said she was back with a better deal.
We've been working extremely hard this week, and as you've all seen, it hasn't been easy for either side. When we met on Monday, we said a deal was within reach. What we have arrived at today represents a significant improvement.
Monday's dash back to London, to many in Brussels, was just the latest evidence of Theresa May's political instability at home.
Prime Minister May has assured me that it has the backing of the UK government. On that basis, I believe we have now made the breakthrough we needed.
After they left the stage, the government chief whip tweeted a photo of Boris Johnson talking to Theresa May yesterday, presumably intended to reassure some who, like Mr Johnson himself, have mocked the idea of paying up big EU demands.
Extortionate, and I think to go whistle is an entirely appropriate expression.
The agreement comes up with an ingenious solution to the divorce bill problem. Theresa May was told she couldn't get support within her party unless she kept the bill under £40 billion. The government's come up with a series of commitments which it says do come to just under £40 billion. It's even got the EU to sign off on that as a reasonable estimate. Truth is, we won't really know what these liabilities come to until years to come. And privately, many in Brussels think the total could be 20% higher. The DUP extracted extra pledges from the government that Northern Ireland would not be joined to Ireland by EU rules, putting up barriers with Britain. The DUP leader said her party wanted more, but Theresa May had insisted it was time to cut a deal.
We ran out of time, essentially. We think that we needed to go back again and talk about those matters. But the Prime Minister has decided to go to Brussels in relation to this text, and she says she has done that in the national interest.
The EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, tweeted of the hurdles still to come if the 27 countries staying in the EU sign off on this deal. Talks could then move to a transition. The European Council President Donald Tusk spelling out today what that could mean for the UK.
Naturally, we have our conditions. I propose that during this period, the UK will respect the whole of EU law, including new law. It will respect budgetary commitments.
Donald Tusk, saying he had important business out of Brussels today, contributed to the pressure for Theresa May to work through the night. His immovable appointment, it turns out, an honorary doctorate in Hungary. Giving a speech in Geneva, Jeremy Corbyn denounced the time wasted by the government in these talks.
This could have been done some time ago. The referendum took place in 2016. We're now right at the end of 2017, and this is the first time there's been any signs of any movement to go on to phase 2 of the negotiations.
Months of work produced this 15-page agreement, and that's about 1% of the size of an average EU trade agreement, giving you some idea of the workload ahead. A Cabinet committee on Monday afternoon will, for the first time it's expected, discuss Britain's future post-Brexit relationship with Europe. And many in the EU openly wonder whether Theresa May's government will be able to withstand the strain and division that will bring. Gary Gibbon, Channel 4 News, Westminster.